Drew Hunthausen has been on a challenging journey most of us could not even imagine. From a healthy 11-year-old playing baseball and golf, to suffering near death in a 3-month-long coma, then waking up totally blind, hearing impaired, and unable to even sit up in bed on his own, to enduring 7 long years of physical therapy, learning to walk again, to competing on his high school swim team, to graduating from college with a degree in sociology and being chosen to speak to the disabled students at his commencement, to being an awarded blind and hearing impaired triathlete, snow skier, best-selling author, and motivational speaker.
The hand we are dealt in life is never the one we envision for ourselves. But with the grace of God, it is a hand we can learn to play with love, hope, and peace.
Drew's mission today is to inspire and motivate every person he meets to become all that God created them to be by learning to choose gratitude and joy with no excuses.
This young man is going places. He might not have sight, but he has vision.
Our congregation, I think most of all, was struck by the fact that a blind guy had to teach us how to see life.
Drew is a no-excuse guy. He powers through any difficulty and perseveres until he accomplishes his goal.
I can see, I can hear, but I think Drew might have superior vision and superior clarity about what's most important in life.
Drew Hunthausen, the no excuses blind guy.
The sink in my hospital room baffled me. The keyboard at the nurse's station silenced me. Then the elevator button pushed me back to reality. My friends, have you ever been jolted by an unwelcome revelation about yourself? This describes the day in the hospital when an elevator button pushed me to understand that I had been very sick and I was sitting totally blind in a wheelchair. It was a new beginning, an unwelcome revelation that I was not ready for and certainly would not have chosen. Greetings, everybody. So excited to be here. And thank you so much, Tanya, for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you guys. All of you would probably agree that in the midst of life's journey, there's many endings as well as new beginnings. We all experience them, don't we? Hopefully, the good things end less often, and the bad things end quickly. But the question for all of us is, what will be that new that replaces a specific ending? I want to share with you, I believe there are certain aspects, certain things that give birth to these new beginnings. In my work, I help people learn to use these essentials to give birth to new beginnings and become all that God created them to be. In the brief time I have with you, I'm going to share with you some of my story and illustrate some 5 different attributes that have really helped me usher in these new beginnings. I have faced many challenges, many struggles in my own life, but what I have learned, and this is something for all of us, that we all have a choice in what kind of new beginnings we will have. I can remember back to, this was many years ago, I was 14 years old, and this was actually the start of a new beginning, though I didn't know this at the time. The pastor at my church asked me to come and speak to the congregation about giving back. And I came that day, I was speaking to a packed house of about 400 people. And at that time, through offering, I was giving back 10% of my $50 monthly allowance. And I remember getting up in front of the whole congregation, slowly walking up those stairs. If I could see all of you, I think I'd be really nervous right now. It was great because it was one of those icebreakers that you could almost hear the sigh from the congregation. It put them at ease. And of course, I do wish right now, and I wish then, that I could see all of you, but I guess I'm taking advantage of the fact that I can't. One thing is that I think I'd be a very good keynote speaker for a self-conscious nudist colony, wouldn't I? As I take you through my story, think about how certain elements that I'm going to talk about, how they might affect your own journey in life, affect your own path, because all of us have our own story. Some I like to say, because it's definitely true, in my own life, there are new beginnings there are endings that might look like closed doors. But some of those endings are just disguised as new beginnings. You just have to figure it out. There might be that slight opening to figure out how to get through it, and it'll be a great thing. Back in 1998, I was a healthy 11-year-old kid, loving life. I had a wonderful family. My dad, mom, older brother, and a younger sister, Chelsea, who was here. This all changed in a blink of an eye as I went from that healthy kid, loving life, playing baseball and golf, to one who spent 3 very long months in a coma near death. I went from that, I woke up from that coma totally blind, hearing impaired, unable to even sit up on my own. I went from that kid in bed to a college grad, motivational speaker, best-selling author, and triathlete. It's been an amazing but challenging journey. I'm going to tell you some of my journey, some of my story, but really how it has changed my life and affected me. In a way, I believe that all of us are journeying blind, metaphorically. I am physically blind, but all of us, because we can't see what's coming next, we have to believe, we have to have faith that to keep moving forward. But one of the things I say is that the hand we are dealt in life is never the one we envision for ourselves. But with the grace of God and the help of others, it is a hand that we can learn to play with joy, hope, and love. As I just said, in 1998, I contracted bacterial meningitis, and I was very sick. I was actually in the hospital for a total of 4.5 months. And about 10 days into my hospital stay, the doctors came in and told my parents that I would most likely die. And if I didn't die, I'd be a vegetable on a feeding tube for the rest of my life. Well, my friends, as you can see, or I hope you can see, that I'm not a vegetable on a feeding tube. The doctors were wrong. But when I did wake up from that coma, as I said, I was totally blind and hearing impaired. I went through many surgeries while I was in the hospital. Bowel resection, a stomach surgery. I had a trach. tube down my throat. I had stomach tube. Things were not looking good for me at all. And about after my close to 5-month stay in the hospital, I was finally strong enough to come home, still in a wheelchair, barely able to sit up. I had to move my bed downstairs. I brought one of those fancy hospital beds home with me. But I did, with a push of a button, and moved up and down, and that was really my sole form of entertainment for a long time. But I can remember lying in bed, crying myself to sleep, just wailing out to God, what the heck am I supposed to do with my life now? I'm totally blind. I'm hearing impaired. I had these dreams for the future. I thought I was supposed to be a professional baseball player, professional golfer, do all these things. And I can't picture doing any of them now. What the heck? Well, the miraculous thing is that I would fall asleep with tears streaming down my face, only to wake up with a renewed spirit. I had no clue what that renewed spirit was or what the heck I was supposed to do with my life. I just knew that God wasn't done with me yet. There was a reason while I was still alive. There was a purpose for my life, and that kept me moving forward. That was a new beginning for me. My friends, I'm introducing myself this way, not at all to generate sympathy, but to prove the point that I think I believe all of us face challenges at one time or another in our lives. Probably most of you haven't experienced challenges quite as significant as me, losing all of your eyesight, much of your hearing, spending 3 months in a coma. But the challenges you have experienced are just as significant to you personally. As I mentioned before, the hand we are dealt in life is never the one we envision for ourselves. But we have to keep moving forward. We all faced, as I just said, we all face challenges. There's going to be times, many times in your life where that faith isn't going to be there. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be fear about taking that next step. What's going to come next? I just don't know. But what I have learned is that we all have a choice to make every single day. What kind of day do we want to have? Do you want to have a day filled with promise, or one dictated by regret, excuses? The choice is ours. And that's the thing. I mean, it's a great thing, but it's also something that we have to take power. We have to take responsibility for. One of the things I have learned in life is just life is like a novel. When one chapter comes to an end, a new chapter starts. A new chapter starts. In the new, there is chance for, I guess you could say, rebirth, for something new to happen. And of course, that's all you have to with moving forward. I'm sure a lot of you here, most of you here are familiar with Zig Ziglar, one of my favorite motivational speakers, favorite guys of all time. I'm so disappointed that I didn't have the opportunity to meet him in person or to hear him in person, but I definitely have heard a lot of his stuff. I remember, I guess it was kind of my subconscious working, but my dad tells me that when we were little kids, we're taking long road trips up to Montana, different places, he used to play Zig Ziglar cassette tapes in the car. I guess it ripped off a little bit. But I remember, one of the things I do remember hearing is one of the tapes Zig was talking to, it's probably at one of his conferences or whatever, talking to this guy. And this guy was saying, yeah, I've heard a bunch of motivational speakers. I actually heard one 2 weeks ago, and I think I'm good to go. I've got all the motivation, ready to move forward with my life. Zig asked him, so did you eat yesterday? Did you eat this morning? And the guy says, oh, of course. I eat every single day. I have my three meals every single day. Zig says, so just because you fed your mind last month, doesn't mean you need to continue feeding your mind? Continue nourishing yourself in that way? And I think that is such an important lesson. And all of you guys are here because you know that lesson. You guys have learned that lesson. But in the same way, I think all of us need to be reminded over and over again that we need to keep feeding our minds, keep feeding our souls, keep feeding our spirits, because that keeps us moving forward in life. As I move in to my acronym, ANGEL, I wanted to give you those thoughts. As I said, my ANGEL is an acronym. The first letter is A, and actually, I like to put the first and third letters together, A and G. It stands for attitude and gratitude. And I believe a good attitude, or a gratitude, is a foundation for a positive attitude. And I want to give you an exercise that I started many years ago that I do every day in the morning when I get up. You can also do it at night. I call it the 5 5s. Simple. You can do it on your tablet. You can do it on your piece of paper, on your smartphone. Make 2 columns. In the first column, write down 5 things that you are thankful or grateful for in your life. Often, I write down things like, or more recently at least, being here with all of you at this conference. I'm thankful for people in my life like Tanya, and people that motivate and keep me moving forward in my life and my business every day. I'm thankful for the conversation I had with my cousin last night. I'm thankful for the sunshine, the beautiful day that we have outside. Write those things down. It doesn't matter if they are big or small. And then in the next column, switch gears and write down 5 things that you want to attract into your life. Maybe things you're praying for or goals you have for yourself. It could be, I want to attract a new speaking gig each month, or I want to attract 20 speaking gigs while I'm here at this conference. Or maybe in your health, I want to lose 10 pounds this month. Write those things down the same way. Doesn't matter if they're big or small. And what this exercise does for us, my friends, is it helps us to focus on what we want in our lives. Focus on the good things rather than the problems, the lack, the excuses, the things we don't want. It is really powerful. Someone once said that when you are truly grateful, it is impossible to be sad. And would you agree with me that that's an impossibility worth having?
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. I encourage you to try this. Try this exercise for a month. See how it works for you. I would love to hear from you. Well, one other thing I want to say about gratitude is research, brain science research has been done that shows that our joy center is actually in the right part of our brain. And joy and appreciation are connected with gratitude. So when we have more gratitude, what we focus on, it enhances the right part of our brain. It enhances our joy, it enhances our appreciation. And I thought that is just a cool thing, because we all want more joy, we all want more appreciation. Moving on, the second letter in my angel is N, for no excuses. We all make excuses in life. We say things like, I'm too old, I'm too small, I'm not smart enough, I just don't have what it takes to get that speaking gig, or I'm disabled. What I have learned is that we can eliminate those excuses. It's something that takes practice, that takes effort, but we can learn to eliminate those excuses. In my journey through life, as I said, going from that weak kid spending 4.5 long months in a coma, totally blind, hearing impaired, to a college grad, inspirational speaker, best-selling author, and triathlete. It's been a journey, and those excuses have been numerous. They've been everywhere. I can remember when I was in college, I was stressed out from studying. I made excuses because at that time I ended up gaining a bunch of weight. I was snacking, and then I would make those excuses. I just don't have time to exercise. I'm too busy. I have too much to do, to study, to write these papers. When I figured out that I needed to do something about it and made that change, accepted that, it changed my life. And I encourage you guys in your own life to put that stake in the ground, to eliminate those excuses, whether it's in your personal life, in your business, in school, whatever it is. Moving on, the next letter, E, stands for exercise. And it's both mental and physical exercise are both equally important. We have to exercise our brains, whether it's writing business reports, reading a good book, doing a crossword puzzle, or just being here at a conference learning and sharing. And then there's the physical exercise. And this is something I'm going to share with you because this last year I started doing something totally new for me. I started competing in triathlons. And call me crazy, but a year ago, I had no idea what a triathlon really consists of, other than swimming, biking, and running. That was all I knew about it. And Zig Ziglar says, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And ready or not, I was starting. But as I said, I didn't know where to start. So I started training at the gym, but that wasn't going to be enough. And I was training I started in July, and I had a triathlon the one I was going to do was in October. So as I said, the gym wasn't enough. So when I was speaking at a church, and I think it was in August, after my talk, I'd asked, anybody out there want to help me train? Maybe you're a runner or a biker or a swimmer, and running is my weakest part of the three sports due to I don't have much experience in it, and also some leg weakness left over from the meningitis. Well, luckily, I got a few people who volunteered to help me out. So we started running, training together a few times a week. That really is a big part of what got me across that finish line on the day of the triathlon. And I want to introduce you to the guy who his name's Daniel Powell. And he's the one who actually has done every triathlon with me that I've done so far, and I've done 7 of them. And he's also the mental encouragement, the knowledge that has helped me get across those finish lines as well. I met him in San Diego last summer when I went to a triathlon training camp. And the person who was supposed to help me out at the camp, be my guide, had to back out at the last minute due to some personal business things. And Daniel stepped up. I am a true believer that things happen for a reason. And this was truly happened for a reason, because as I said, we have done 7 triathlons so far. We have several more scheduled, planned for the future. And he is not only doing these triathlons with me, but he has the experience. He's done, I think, 17 Ironman triathlons around the world, and those are the really, really long ones. that I, at this point, I can't say wouldn't change, that I don't have any desire to do those really long ones, but I love competing. So not only is Daniel doing these triathlons with me, but he, a crazy, amazing athlete that he is, he has convinced me to take part in some long bike rides coming up. And actually, the first one's actually coming up in a couple weeks. And the first one's in San Diego, and it's a 2-day ride, 50 miles each day, so 100 miles total. And these are fundraisers. The first one's to raise money for the Blind Stokers Club, which is a club that helps people like me, because I'm a stoker. That's the person on a tandem bike, the bike that seats 2 people, the person that rides in the back. That person's called a stoker. So this organization helps pair captains up with stokers so they have the opportunity to cycle. It is awesome. And that one's next month. And then in August, I'm going to be riding with Daniel up in Northern California. It's a 2-day ride, 100 miles each day. I'm still a little nervous about that, but I'm training hard. And it's to raise money for the Challenge Athletes Foundation. And that's also, it's an organization, it's based in San Diego, but they raise money for people who are disabled people with all kinds of disabilities, to empower them and help them to get equipment and access to sports, to recreation. It's an incredible organization. I would like to talk to you guys later. Definitely come by my booth. But I just, because I knew there's amazing people at this conference, launched a fundraising campaign yesterday on chuffed.org. It's I don't know if you've heard of it. It's not one of the most popular ones, but I really like what they were doing, and it's to raise money for these organizations and to enable me to go on these incredible bike rides. And my website is actually, I think we got it up here, helpdrewbike.com. And that's a place where you can go and not only, even if you can't help me financially, I want all of you to go there, because I want to get you on my list so I can connect with you guys, so we can collaborate. Isn't this what this conference is about? Yeah. So definitely go there and check that out. The last letter, as I move on, is L in my angel, and that's for love yourself. And I'm not talking about conceited love or being full of yourself. I'm talking about knowing that you have what it takes, that you have that power to do anything you set your mind to. And I believe something that also goes hand in hand with healthy self-love is forgiveness. Because when you cannot forgive yourself, you get stuck. You can't move on. And same with forgiving others. Someone once said that living in unforgiveness is like taking poison and expecting another person to get sick. It's one of those things you're going to have to chew on for a minute. But it is. And I remember when I first got sick, those days when I was laying helpless in bed, crying myself to sleep, I was extremely hard on myself. I just wanted to break out of my skin, to be able to see, to run around, to play those sports, to get on my bike with my friends. But when I realized that I still had a lot to offer, because all of us have a lot to offer, no matter where we are in our journey, I came to that conclusion. And it was amazing. It was a transformation in my life. Well, my friends, this is my angel. All of us, those are essentials that I believe all of us need in our lives. We all have this journey, and whether you want to better yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, because we all need those things in our lives. I have one more quote that I want to share with you. It's from Henny Thoreau Whitman. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what will make you come alive and go and do that. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. I just love that quote so much. As so it ties in with new beginnings, being successful. Because the good news is, my friends, that when you can figure out what makes you come alive and go and do that, you will be well on your way to changing lives, to transforming lives, to bettering yourself, to formulating as many successful new beginnings as you want. Because the fruits of your lives, when you get out there, it's like a ripple on the water that spreads out to not only your friends and family, but it spreads out to the ends of the earth, far, far out. And when you can do that, I know that for all of us, the best is yet to come. I want to remind you to look at I think it's still on the screen here, my website to go and donate if you can, but definitely at least to keep in touch with me. I thank you all for listening. Have a great day.